Today we are up in Northumberland, rock fishing, heavy ground, rough ground, and we are after some summer cod, codling, possibly a wrasse. A little bit overcast, a little bit of sunshine. I've got a light easterly, it's probably about 10-12 miles an hour. It's creating a little bit of surface chop, but other than that, conditions are pretty good. What you want for this sort of fishing, you want the water gin clear and flat. There was a little bit of movement yesterday, but with the wind backing off, it seems to have flattened off. So I'm hoping that we've got all the ingredients to pull out a few fish for the camera. Nice big juicy peeler crab bait that I've just put out there, not far, probably 60-70 yards, something like that. Generally speaking, summer fishing, a lot of the time the fish are resident in the kelp and they're just sitting fairly close in, just milling around looking for crabs. In terms of bait for this sort of fishing, if you can get your hands on it, you really want to be using fresh peeler crab. Frozen will do, but if you can, fresh is generally better. If you've only got a little bit of fresh, what you can do is you can cut one frozen crab in half, one fresh one in half, bind the two together, and then you get the best of both worlds, and it means your fresh bait can go a little bit further. Best get some cream on here because that sun's coming out. We've just had a good bite. Just as I was putting my cream on there, I've got a lot of slack line. That was a decent knock, that. Had a good couple of pulls. Oh, yep, someone having a go, so I'm just going to wind in. Oh, missed him. Ah, never mind. First cast to bite though. Let's get this one out there. Just about in the same spot. Another tip when you're fishing these places, if you haven't fished them that often, what you'll find is, particularly on the bigger tides, as the water starts to drop, the first sometimes 10-15 yards in front of you, you'll start to see all the kelp heads come up, and what you don't want is your line coming slack, falling in those kelp heads, and one of them flops over, and then your line's going straight down. You're trying to pull it out to get it off the kelp, and then what happens is you're pulling your gear out there into a snag, and it's just a nightmare. So we haven't got too much of a problem yet because the tide hasn't dropped. It's not a massive tide today, it's just over a metre, so it's okay for now. It will drop in a bit, but once you've cast, you want to just try and keep your rod tip quite high and make sure it's out above all that kelp so you can connect straight into a bite when you hopefully get one. It's a good sign. At first bait, it'd probably been in for about half an hour, something like that, which ordinarily you'd think that's quite a long time to have a bait in, but when you're using big crab baits and there's not much tide, it's not like fishing in the Solway or the Bristol Channel where you've got a lot of tide, a lot of water moving and it's washing your bait. Other than the tide going gently in and out here, there's no tide run at all, so I like to just let the bait settle for a decent amount of time, because as long as it's a good size and it's good quality, you're fine. This is the type of pulley rig where it's just one length of line all the way through from the hook to the sinker. 70 pound ASO 0.8, and all I do on the pulley system, crimp, 2 beads, swivel, and on the business end I've got a 4-row Viking. Fishing this sort of ground, it's as heavy as you're going to encounter anywhere in the UK. So I just think the less terminal tackle you're throwing in there, the more chance you've got of getting your gear back. just going to give me hands a good rub in that salt water, and the reason being, I don't want that sun cream getting onto me bait when I'm baiting up, because I'm a little bit paranoid about that sort of thing. I'm not so sure that the cod or a wrasse is going to want a mouthful of factor 20, so I'm just going to try and get a bit of that off. Well, there's at least one fish out there, either that or it was a big angry lobster, which you do occasionally get fishing. Now got that horrible feeling of, is that going to be the only bite of the day? But I've only been fishing just under an hour. I've got about another 40 minutes or so of low water. I'm a little bit late getting here today because theme running through this weekend seems to be beer. I had a few last night and I mistimed how early I wanted to get up, but never mind, I'm here now. Right, it was another decent bite. It's fast, but thing to do, it's still biting away, that fish. It's absolutely biting away, it's on. Thing to do sometimes is give it some slack for a few seconds, and sometimes the fish will swim out. Feel it biting away, come on. Sometimes what you'll find, if it's a smaller fish, it'll thrash about, and if it's hooked and it's pulling against a sinker or a snag, it'll run out of energy and just sit there, so you're not sure if it's gone or whether it's just lying on. What I'm going to have to do is just pull for a break. It's all you can do in these circumstances. It's frustrating, but it's just the way it goes with heavy ground fishing like this. Right, well, I'm going to have to do it. Pull for the dreaded break. And I've got a feeling I've lost the lot. Annoying, but it's just the way it is, I'm afraid. We're not fishing in deep water here. I'd be surprised if I'm casting into more than 4 or 5 feet. Maybe slightly more, but not a lot. Shallow ground, which means the bites are pretty vicious. But as you've just seen there, it also means when you're reeling in, you've got to whine like hell because you're just generally pulling through rather than up and over. Well, this is the 4th cast. I'm back into that spot that I cast into the first couple of chucks where I got the bites, but haven't had anything yet. Typical, you have 2 casts, 2 cracking bites. Unfortunately, missed them both and then just goes quiet, but good conditions though. Well, after a very, very promising start, 2 casts, 2 bites, probably a lost fish in the kelp, it's gone absolutely dead. But that is cod fishing for you. What I might do next cast, I don't know why, there's just something inside of us saying have maybe a chuck slightly shorter over to the right there. A little bit of ground over there. It's probably 50, 60 yards to me right, so I'm just going to gently overhead that. And I'm right into it. I'm right into that patch I want to be at, so let's hope last cast saloon does the business. Just had a cracking bite. Just on that little kelp there that I had a hunch about before. Yep, that is going. Right, if that knocks again, I'm going to hit it. Come on. Feel one or two taps. We'll just give that time to develop. If there is a fish, just having a little bit of a wrestle with it. Well, after leaving the rod, just had a couple of more pretty vicious bites. I've got a feeling that fish might be on. So, came a little bit there. Oh, and again. Oh, I've lost him. Damn. So frustrating. It is a tough old game. Man. Hey, God, it's frustrating, isn't it? Right, well, because the tide's coming in and this might be my last cast, I'm just going to get that bait straight back into that spot on the hope that I might be able to get that fish. Oh, that is so annoying. Right, come on. Back out there. I'm just overheading that into that kelp bed, straight back into it. I'm going to have to start shifting the gear back as this tide is beginning to push now. The trials and tribulations of sea angling, eh? Well, my hunch about that spot to my right was definitely right. There's definitely a fish in that kelp bed, just couldn't get him out, unfortunately. I've got a bait straight back into it. Albeit it's the same bait, so it's not as fresh, but as I say, this tide is beginning to push around us now. I'm not going to have much longer on here, so I'd rather just get a bait straight back out there and give myself another 10-15 minutes. Oh, I'm just getting another knot there. Oh, yes, I am. Come on. He's biting away. He was. Yes, yes, we are in. We are in. It's not a monster, but it's a fish, finally. Straight back into that kelp bed. Yep, he's just coming up there now. Looks like a nice red kelpy. Here he comes. Right, well, hey, I am very, very pleased with that. Summer cod, taking that bait right down, but got it straight out. Look at that. That is the sort of cod you get up here in Northumberland during the summer. You can tell he's a resident fish because he's taken on the same colour as the kelp to help him camouflage. Drove us a little bit crazy, as you saw, but managed to get him out. Let's get him back. Yes, I'm happy with that, and I'm just about to get pushed off here as well, so I'm pleased with that because it's taken us all afternoon to get a fish for the camera, but managed to get one in the end, and he's away. That little hunch at the end just came good, and it just shows this sort of fishing, don't be frightened to chuck short and into shallow water, because at this time of year, as you've just seen, the fish are there. So you just got to follow your gut, keep fishing, and hopefully the effort is rewarded. So I'm going to give this 5 minutes, then I'm definitely going to go and get some food because I'm absolutely starving. But happy with that. I'm going to wind that rig in a second, get off this area of rock, go and get some food. And then I think I'm going to bring you back for part 2, where we're going to fish a different venue, further up the coast, over high water, maybe down a little bit into the evening. I've still got some bait left. And hopefully we can pull out another fish or two. So hopefully you've enjoyed this first part of it, and we'll see you in a bit.